Every story has its collector. The tales of horror, of suffering, of despair, each one calls to me. But some are born not of hatred, or vengeance, or madness. Some are born of a single choice, a coin tossed in jest, and a price paid in full. Welcome, dear listener, to The Fate Coin. Chapter 1, A Harmless Flip.
It was just a normal night, honestly. Just another long night of discord and gaming with the boys. I knew I was going to need an energy drink to make it through the grind they had planned, so I shot them a text telling them that I needed to run to the store and they could start without me. This is where I found it, at that goddamn gas station. Not the kind with bright signs and clean bathrooms. No, this place looked like it had been sitting forgotten on the edge of the highway for the last 30 years. The kind that appears when you're too tired to keep driving, where the neon buzzes like flies, and you never quite remember pulling in. It was just past midnight when I walked in. The door creaked like a casket lid. The air inside smelled like dust, motor oil, and old paperbacks. Shelves leaned like tombstones, and a single flickering bulb dangled from the ceiling. Behind the counter stood a man I hadn't noticed until I was halfway to the back. I froze. He hadn't moved. He just watched. He was strange, ghostly pale, like fog had taken on the shape of a man. His suit was sharp. Damn if it didn't look Victorian, almost. Waistcoat button high, sleeves pressed smooth, not a speck of dust on him despite the unclean ruin all around. His face was shadowed. I could see his mouth clearly, thin and knowing, but the rest, especially the eyes, were lost in a kind of shimmer. When I caught a glimpse of them, they were blue. Not like any blue I'd seen before, like a frozen flame. It was almost like the light in the store was afraid to touch him. He didn't speak at first, just nodded toward the register. There, beside a half-melted candle, sat a small wooden bowl. A handwritten sign taped to the glass read, "Lost something? Maybe this'll help. Take a coin. No charge." I looked inside. Most were junk, slugs, foreign pennies, washers. But one stood out, bronze and heavy, cold to the touch. On one side, heaven, etched in blue script. On the other, hell, deep red and jagged like dry blood. I held it up. "It's got a nice weight," I said, just trying to break the silence. The man finally moved. He smiled, small and unsettling.
They always do.
"So what's the catch?" I asked, half laughing.
No catch. Just understand, once it's yours. There are no trades, no refunds. It is yours from now until you depart.
I glanced back at the bowl. What an odd way of phrasing no refunds. He must have a showman background. "You do this often?" He gave me a long, unreadable look.
Only for those who need it. And the coin always knows who to choose.
I didn't know what to say to that. It felt like a joke, but not the funny kind. Still, I slipped the coin into my jacket pocket. "Guess I'll let fate decide where to eat tonight," I muttered. The man inclined his head. As I left, I could have sworn he whispered something just beneath the hum of the neon.
Flip wisely.
Chapter 2, The Coin Decides.
I used it that same night. Tossed it onto the kitchen counter like a joke while Lily got ready upstairs. Should we stay in or go out? Heaven go. Hell stay. It landed heaven, the letters gleaming in silver under the light. I laughed to myself, already grabbing the car keys. Lily came down in her usual storm of earrings and misplaced shoes, and we headed out to grab sushi and watch bad movies. No demons, no disasters, just the kind of night you pretend not to cherish until it's gone. The flips started small, trivial, left or right of the coffee shop, take the freeway or back roads, but the outcomes always clicked. I would avoid a fender bender when I took the long way home, snagged the last open table at a packed diner when I picked hell instead of heaven. It was addicting, this little sense of control disguised as chance. I kept the coin in my jacket pocket, always warm now, almost pulsing. I didn't ask why, didn't wonder how. Because that's what you do when things are going your way. You don't ask why. Until the night, I didn't listen. It was raining. I was tired. Lily was out with friends, texting me to come meet them. I flipped a coin. Should I go out? It landed on hell. The red looked deeper than usual, like it was bleeding through the metal. I stared at it for a second, then scoffed. I'm not letting a damn coin control my life. I went upstairs, poured a drink, put on some music. Lily went out. I stayed in. She never came back. I got the call at 2:14 a.m. Hit by a truck. Instant. Same intersection I would have crossed had I gone. She'd left the bar early to bring me takeout. The coin was sitting on the counter when I got home from the hospital. I hadn't brought it, but there it was, gleaming red, still showing hell, like it never flipped.
Chapter 3. The Hollow Goodbye.
The church was cold, even with all the bodies inside. I hadn't slept, didn't eat. I just sat there, second row from the front, staring at the closed casket like it might open and tell me this was a mistake. That the call, the blood, the driver, none of it happened. But it did. Lily was gone, and I hadn't even said goodbye that night. The pastor droned on with pleasantries Lily would have hated.
Wanted us to celebrate her life.
It was all bullshit, really. I felt the coin in my jacket pocket, pressed between my fingers. Warm, like always. My hand moved on its own. Thumb flicked it up, caught it, flipped it onto the back of my hand beneath the funeral program. Hell, of course. I bit down hard on the inside of my cheek. Not even sure why I'd flipped it. I hadn't asked anything. Or maybe I had. Maybe some part of me asked, should I cry? Should I scream? Should I throw this damn thing into the casket and follow it down? But it answered what it did our final night together. Hell. So I just sat there, frozen, empty. After the service, people lined up to give me their condolences. Words I couldn't hear, eyes I couldn't meet, but one man stood out. I didn't recognize him. He didn't speak. He just passed by slowly, brushed against my shoulder, and leaned in as if to whisper something, but didn't. Instead, he slid something into my jacket pocket. I felt it. Another coin. Identical, but this one was ice cold. I turned to look for him, but he was gone. It was almost as if he was never there. No disruptions in the crowd, no aggravated glances as if someone just pushed through. Nothing. It was as if he was mere shadow.
Chapter 4. The Dream That Wasn't.
The night after the funeral, I didn't want to sleep. I couldn't tell if it was the grief, or the way the second coin now sat on my desk, right next to the first. Identical, gleaming. I never took it out of my pocket, but there it was. I told myself I must have moved it in a daze. That grief makes people forget things. That coincidences happen. But I locked my bedroom door that night. I laid staring at my ceiling, hoping to just drift away. It was so strange, even with my door shut and blinds down. I just felt like something was watching me. Finally, though, exhaustion won, and I passed out. Then I found myself in a dreamscape. We all have heard of lucid dreaming, right? Even this, though, didn't feel like that. I dreamed I was standing on a road where she died. It was pitch black, but I knew it instantly. I felt the weight of it in my chest. That dread you get when you walk into a place the soul remembers, even if the brain forgets. The street was soaked in rain, but there was no sound, no wind, no headlights, only me and the coin. It was already in the air, flipping. I hadn't thrown it, but there it was, spinning above my open hand. It never landed. Instead, it grew larger and larger until it became a moon above the road. A black, burning moon, half blue, half red. Heaven and hell glowing over everything. Then came the laughter. Not loud, not maniacal, just near, close enough to be inside my skull.
You're still asking. Even in dreams. You can't help it now.
I tried to run, but my feet sank into the pavement like it was tar. From the trees, I saw him. Tall, wrong, faceless, skin pale and pulled tight, stitched where I should be. A grin stretched across its mouth like a carving, not an expression. He walked with something in his hand. I couldn't see what, but dragged behind him, leaving gouges in the road. He stopped just before reaching me.
You know the rules now. And still you flip. A slave to your own compulsion.
I woke up screaming, soaked in sweat. My phone buzzed on the nightstand. 3:14 a.m. I grabbed it, desperate to anchor myself to anything real. But before I could catch my breath, my eyes drifted to the desk. A third coin, right beside the first two.
Chapter 5. The Thing at the Window.
I didn't go to work the next day. Didn't eat. Didn't speak. Just stared at the desk. There had been 3 coins last night. I was sure of it. But in the morning, only one remained. Still warm. Still gleaming. Still watching me. I try not to touch it. I really did. But my fingers drifted to it whenever I walked by. Sometimes without even realizing. Like it was gravity. Like I was orbiting it now. By noon, I'd flipped it 5 times. I didn't ask anything anymore. I didn't need to. The flips answer questions I didn't know I'd asked. Heaven, hell, hell, heaven, heaven. I didn't write them down, but I remember them all. Like each one had been carved into my mind. It happened just after dusk. I was brushing my teeth, staring into the mirror with a hollow-eyed look that we see people only wear after funerals and bad dreams. I laughed because I looked like I was straight out of one of those generic indie horror films that a first-year student would create. But then I froze. The bathroom light flickered, and for just a second, I saw movement in the mirror that didn't match mine. A figure, tall, directly behind me. I turned, but nothing was there. I couldn't help but let out a breath of relief. Man, I need to get more sleep. But when I walked back into my room, there was something odd. The curtains were open. I knew I hadn't opened them. And outside, on the far side of the glass, stood a man. Or maybe something shaped like one. His face was wrong. Too smooth, kind of like wax. Featureless, except for a crude mouth, stretched into a stitched, sharp, toothy grin. His head tilted, not like someone that was curious, like something hungry, like a predator eyeing prey. He, or maybe I should say, it didn't move. It just stood, one hand raised to the glass. It looked like he had claws for fingernails dripping with black ooze, or shit, I don't fucking know what it was. I was frozen in fear. It did not knock nor tap. It flipped his thumb and tossed a small object into the air. I saw it flash, red then blue. The coin, my coin. The window fogged from its breath, though I couldn't see nostrils. No eyes, just holes beneath the skin. The coin landed on the back of his hand. Hell, it nodded once, and just vanished. I ran to the window, tore it open, looked down. Nothing, just streetlight and silence. But when I turned back, heart hammering, I saw the coin had moved. It was no longer on the desk. It was on my pillow, waiting.
Chapter 6. The Devil You Know.
I didn't leave my apartment the next day. I couldn't. Every time I reached for the door, the coin was there. On the knob, in my shoe, in my hand. I stopped asking how. I stopped asking anything. But it didn't stop flipping. By nightfall, I'd lost time. Whole hours vanished between coin tosses. I'd find myself standing in the kitchen, hand already mid-throw, unsure when I'd picked it up. Heaven, hell, heaven, hell, hell, hell. My thoughts grew fractured. Was I flipping because I chose to? Or because I had to? Was I choosing it all? It started as a smell. Smoke, sulfur, burnt copper. like someone had set fire to old pennies and let the stink seep under the door. Then came the knocking. It was slow and rhythmic, not with a fist. It sounded like it was done with something harder, or maybe I should say sharper. I backed away from the front door, heart pounding. The coin was in my hand. I hadn't meant to pick it up. I tried to drop it. My fingers wouldn't open. Should I open the door? I whispered, barely aware of saying it. I flipped. Hell. The knocking stopped. Silence. Then, the door creaked open on its own. He stepped inside. The same faceless man from the window, but now closer. Real. His skin sagged like it didn't quite fit. His suit was older than time, buttoned tight over bones that weren't shaped for it, and stitched across his face were the fragments of others. Lips, brows, cheeks. Familiar pieces. Pieces of Lily. He wasn't just wearing faces. He was collecting them.
You flipped. You chose.
I tried to run, but the room warped. Walls stretched. Shadows bled. My floor turned to ash underfoot, and the air smelled like dying stars. He moved without moving. Closer, closer, until his breath was in my ear.
You've done well. But it's time to pass it on.
He extended his hand. In his palm, the coin burned. My coin, singular now, gleaming like molten judgment. He closed my fingers over it.
Find someone close, or I will.
And then, he was gone. I woke up on the floor, mouth dry and my eyes red. The front door was shut again. The coin sat neatly on my chest. It hadn't flipped. It didn't need it anymore.
Chapter 7. The Last Flip.
I thought I had time, that maybe I could fight it, hide it, bury it, burn it, beat it. But you can't bury what doesn't die. Goddamn, what have I done? The coin stayed warm no matter where I put it. I tried drawers, then freezers. Hell, I even tried a fire once. But always came back. Always to my pocket. Always to my hand. It was funny like that. Kind of like a fingernail. It always came back. I stopped sleeping. Stopped eating. Every noise made me jump. Every shadow stretched too long. I saw him everywhere. At the corner of my vision. In reflections. In people's faces. Not just the faceless man, but them. The others. The ones he wore. Lily's eyes in the mailman. My mother's voice in a barista. A stranger on the bus with my laugh. It was taking me apart, piece by piece. Then the coin flipped itself. No question, no choice. Just spinning in the air above my hand like it had waited for this moment. Of course it fell to hell. I knew what it meant. She knocked at my door a few hours later. A freshman writer from Lily's old workshop group. Said she remembered my name from one of Lily's Instagram posts. Said she always admired me. Said she was struggling with self-doubt. And thought, maybe I could help. She smiled like Lily used to. Like there was still light in the world. I should have slammed the door. I didn't. The coin was already in my hand when I sat down across from her. She asked what kept me going when things got hard. I said nothing. I slid the coin across the table. She looked at it, laughed.
This is cool. What's it for?
It is to help you decide. So she flipped it. And of course it would land heaven. She smiled.
Guess this means I should keep writing, huh?
I nodded. Yeah, just one thing. She looked up at me. Once you take it, you should know. My hand were trembling. There are no trades. No refunds. It's yours from now until you depart. She looked confused. But the coin was already warm in her palm. And I was already lighter. Emptier. Fading like the last dream before waking.
Somewhere, just outside of time and behind the curtain of the mundane, a door creaked open. I stepped through. The collector, they call me with my Sharp suit, blue eyes like frozen stars, shadowed face. I tuck away this little tattered journal into my coat, a name scrawled on the spine. Lily. Now I look out from these shadows, right at you. The story is past, and now it's yours. I close the book. For now. Thank you, dear listener, for helping me collect yet another soul. Poor Lily never even knew she was the main player in our game, so remember, every flip seals a fate, every choice is a cut, and behind each cut, a whisper says, flip wisely, or not at all. After all, the coin always collects.
Its collector, tales of chance, of consequence, of blood and choice. This one begins with a coin. Two sides, heaven and hell. Heads for mercy, tails for ruin, but fate doesn't care which you pick, only that you obey. Flip it once and your soul is marked. Disobey and the demon comes. He wears no face, he takes yours. And if no one is left to carry the curse, then the coin returns to me. Welcome, dear listener, to the vale of nightmares. Sweet dreams delivered.